Hi, I'm Susanna Bowling, and this is live from the Hotel Edison. Times Square Chronicles presents Zoom Style. There's a movie that came out in 2004, but has been really making the rounds. It's called Beau, an Artist at War. And the subject matter is not only fascinating, it is heartwarming and it is full of hope. And we are with one of the producers, Richard Allen. Richard, tell me a little bit about how you got involved with Beau.
Well, thank you very much. Actually, his name is pronounced Bao,
Oh,
Artist at
Bao,
War.
sorry.
That's okay, Bao, B-A-U, Artist at War. And it's very, very interesting because as I'm an executive producer, and I got involved a little bit later on in the production of it, but I know the story going back over 20 years. So I'll start from the beginning.
Okay.
Joseph and Rebecca Bao were in the Plaszow camps, concentration camps together. Most people probably don't realize it, but they know of them. It's a true story where they got married in the camps in Plaszow, and that was because Spielberg's film
Schindler's
was.
List.
I'm sorry.
Schindler's List.
Schindler's List, yes, has them getting married in the camps. So you see that it was the only marriage in the camps that was recorded, or that people know about where they survived. And what happened was that they went through a harrowing experience, as you could possibly imagine. And the movie goes over all of the things that happened to them during the course in the concentration camps, because Schindler befriended them, and how they got onto the list, and how Rebecca Bao took her name off the list in order to put her husband on. And it's basically, Suzanne, it's basically a love story. And when I first heard about the story, and I know the whole story, so it's a fascinating story because he did marvelous things after the war, both him and Rebecca. But when I heard that it's there, I knew the family, the Bao family, and then there was this Deborah Smersnik, who's the actual producer of the movie. 16 years ago, met with the Bao family, and I'll tell you a little bit about that because that's fascinating too. And she said, "I want to make it into a movie." And she was taking a tour of Israel, and the Bao sisters like to tell their story of their mother and father, and so they met with Deborah Smersnik, and Deborah heard the story and says, "I want to make it into a movie." And uh, the Bao sisters, Slila and Hadassah Bao, they're the daughters of Joseph and Rebecca Bao. I call them the Bao sisters because I always see them together. And they basically said, "Wow, this is a dream come true. We think the story is fantastic to make it into a movie. That's our dream. Are you in Hollywood?" And she said, "No, I live in Hawaii." And they said, "Well, oh, you make movies?" She said, "No, I don't know anything about making a movie." But she was so drawn in by the story that it became an incredible emotional a duty for her, or a task for her, or her mission in life. And it took her 16 years. She went to school to learn about film.
Oh,
She then They got writers, and no one liked the scripts because the writing is everything on a film.
absolutely.
And so Deborah went back to school and learned writing and was the main script writer in it. And when you see this movie, it is phenomenal. And the reason why it's phenomenal, you have Emile Hirsch playing Joseph Bao. You have Inbal Levy playing Rebecca Bao, two incredible actors and actress. And then there's incredible performances given by there's a fellow by the name of Juan Tual. He played France Roots, the kind of lieutenant deputy commander in the Plaszow concentration camp, and very vile individual. And when you see him in the movie, it's just you can't help but have such an emotional hate for him because he portrays the Franz Gruen character so correctly. You really see the evil in him, and I had the fortune of meeting him at the premiere.
He's
yeah,
still alive? Oh,
yeah, no,
wait.
Jan Tual.
Oh,
And I had and he's from France, the sweetest, nicest guy you could ever imagine, which goes to show you what a great actor he is. I mean, you just have this oval. He sat next to me when we previewed the movie, and I'm watching the movie, and I have this hatred for the guy, and he's sitting right next to me, and he's the sweetest guy you could ever imagine. So great story. So Deborah went back and got uh, Sean McNamara, who's a very well-known director, has quite a number of famous movies behind him.
I
Um,
love Sean
he
Penn.
did, he did Reagan and quite a lot, and so I knew the family, and working with Deborah, she was just such a lovely person to work with, and she asked me, she said, "Would you please be the executive producer?" And I just couldn't say no, and it was the best decision of my life.
Now, he never got to see the film being made because he died in 2002, correct?
Correct. Yes. Joseph Bell never saw the movie. The movie just came out. It's on streaming now. It's on all of the streaming services, Amazon and Paramount Plus, and all of them. Um, and he didn't see the movie. And he has an incredible history after the Plaszow camps. He migrated to Israel in 1950s. He and Rebecca Bow, I mean, the ordeal they went through and the love story they had and how they were separated and miraculously found each other right after the war. And you don't know, both of them didn't know whether the other one was alive. And you see what they both went through. It's just amazing. And it's a love story that is so real that people, I saw the film the first time at the Boca Raton Film Festival in Florida, uh, and it won like 11 or 12 awards going through the grouping of film festivals throughout the country, and so it won a lot of awards. And I saw it, and I didn't know how the audience was going to react. And when the movie and the credits finished, because the credits at the end, everyone is reading the credits at the end because it tells the story of what happened to them after the war and shows pictures and shows what happened to the commandant and to all the evil Nazi commanders who tortured the Jews and killed them and slaughtered them. And everyone's fixated on it. And when the film ended, because it's one of those films that everybody sees the credits at the end,
Right.
nobody moves. The curtain, the lights went on, and total silence, and then massive applause. And when I looked at the audience, I would say about 20% of them were actually crying. It's very emotional film, but it's a love story. So the love story comes through really beautifully, and you really are so happy for them that they survived the war, because as you know, 6 million didn't. And his history in Israel is phenomenal. Have you heard of the spy Eli Cohen, Our Man in Damascus, a very famous book? It
Yeah.
was made into a movie as well. He was an Israeli spy that really helped out Israel because he got into the upper echelons of Syria and was able to uh, uh, protect Israel on the Yom Kippur War. And he was hanged by the Syrians after. Um, well, the Joseph Bow was the forger for Eli Cohen's passports and all his documents to get into Syria. And so Joseph Bow became one of the main forgers for the Mossad right after the war. He it's kind of one of those incredible stories. The movie Catch Me If You Can, where
Yeah.
this guy was basically fooled his way into becoming a doctor and a lawyer, and he actually did it all.
It became a musical. Yes.
Yes, a musical as well. Yes. So what happened is Joseph Bow actually had a real life history, not of fooling people, but actually doing it. He formulated and did the fonts. Don't forget, in that period in the 1950s, you didn't go to a computer and just say, "I want this font or that font." You
Right.
actually had to draw the fonts and actually do it, and then utilize it. So he made all of the fonts for the movies, and he was the first one to start where each movie had its own font so that it had an image and a logo of the actual movie.
Branded.
Yes, branding. He did that. He was what they call the first uh, Walt Disney of Israel,
Yeah.
meaning,
Did he do animation films as well?
yes, but beyond the idea of doing animation films, is that he did it making his own equipment. And when you see the equipment, when you go to the museum, there's a Joseph Bau Museum in Tel Aviv, which the Bau sisters run. Rebecca, excuse me, Slila and Hadassah Bau. When you go to that museum, it's actually his studio, right 2 blocks away from the Habima Theater and the Israel Philharmonic. Uh, and it's an amazing place. I went there. It's a small place. It's two rooms. I went there, 2 small rooms, by the way, and hours the first time I
Going
was
through
there,
things.
and I did not see everything.
Wow.
It really was unbelievable. You see the equipment that he made to do the animation. You know, you need a 35 millimeter camera on top, and you have to move it around. And he made it out of old X-ray equipment. Of course, not the camera, but the setup. And in those days, it would cost, I don't know, something, $25,000 to buy one, but that would be like $500,000 today to really get great animation equipment. He jerry-rigged everything. And then it dawned on me, like amazingly, I'm looking at this and I said, of course. Of course. If someone could be a forger in the camps and you don't have brushes and you don't have right paper and you don't have this, you have to improvise all over. You don't have erasers. You have to improvise. And this man was incredible at doing this. So besides the being an animator, he also was an artist, and so he did many portraits of people that when you look at them, it grasps you and brings you in. A lot of them are Holocaust uh, um, kind of memories, and so when you see it, he is a famous one that you see a long line of people marching into Auschwitz, and you see the crematoria with the long smokestack, and you see the people walking
Into the
out of
community.
out of this from being smoke being blown out of the chimney of the crematoria. It's a iconic lithograph that he did, and it's quite moving. All of these are in the movie because Sean McNamara, the director, uh, did an incredible job. He put in these lithographs that Joseph Bau did, black and white, and they really set and framed all the different segments of the film. So it's something fascinating, and I don't just say that because I was involved in it. I've seen a lot of Holocaust movies, and speaking with Deborah, one of the first conversations I had with her was, Deborah, it's terrific you're making this movie, but if you make a Holocaust movie, it'll just be another Holocaust movie, where people see the horrible situation in the camps and the suffering and so forth. I said, but I don't know how you're going to be able to do this, but it's a love story. And I just cannot wrap my head around anyone making a love story in the camps, Plaszow concentration camp, because the people died, they suffered, they were tortured, they were brutally murdered. It would be a dishonor to all of the victims to make a love story and make it, something nice at the end.
I love the fact that you keep emphasizing this is a love story because there's a book called I Never Saw Another Butterfly. That's the poems and the drawings of the children of Theresen.
Yes.
And this book is so full of hope, so full of love, details the horror, but in these children's poems and drawings, it gives life. And that book got me through my entire life.
Wow.
So to have a film that's again about something horrific, but you keep presenting it as a love story, I think is brilliant because everyone thinks that love is something that you go after. This wasn't something that they went after. It's something that happened and they allowed it despite what was going on.
Exactly, exactly. Boy, you really hit it on the head. And the idea is that it's not the kind of love story that we see the rom-coms and
Right.
where
Hallmark.
it's yeah where it's a little too sugary and so forth. This is this is really true love. And when you talk about true love going through the ordeal of the camps, it's just and their life after the camps personified this optimism. While a lot of the victims and the survivors in Israel went into, understandably, deep depression, all sorts of medical ailments, psychological serious problems, they had an outlook that was sunny disposition. And they talked about their experiences in the camps. And the other survivors would not do it. And they encouraged them to do it. And we had three premiere openings in Israel after the opening in Hollywood in Los Angeles. We had three in Israel, one in Haifa, one in Jerusalem, and one in Tel Aviv. Each one of them packed, and all of them
Wait,
making.
one of them was done in like December, January of this year.
Yes, January. I was there. I went to all three. January 1st was in Jerusalem, and it was held at the Museum of Tolerance. There was a brand new, huge building that 400 plus seat auditorium.
Wait, the building is called the Museum of Tolerance.
Yes, it's the museum. There's a Museum of Tolerance in Los Angeles.
What a great name.
Yeah, and there's a Museum of Tolerance in Jerusalem. Fantastic venue, really. It's so modern and so beautiful. You're just taken aback by the just being in that space. It's just amazing. And Inbar Levy was there, and we got a lot of press all over television and print. What was amazing about it is that people really understood it. It was again a standing ovation, and you saw how the Israelis really embraced this, and it's their story because it wasn't sugar coated. It and Deborah Smersnik, I unbelievably did a script that allowed all this to happen. I had no idea that it could be done. I told her, I said, I think it's an impossible task because how do you weave a story? And when you see it, the intricacy of the story and broad, everything is true. It's all true. The basic story of Joseph and Rebecca Bow was true. Yeah, it's an unbelievable movie. I hope everyone will see it.
But wait, I want to get into something else.
Sure.
This was nowhere near what you did. Tell people what you do and what your background is.
Oh, well, my actual field is I'm in what we call employee benefits. I have a firm that called American Corporate Benefits that works with employee benefits, health insurance, life insurance, disability, pension plans, things of that nature. And with my involvement in this film is a involvement of love, not of dedication to the memory of the people who perished in the Holocaust, and trying to keep that alive and so that people really understand it and it's not just a cliche. So yeah, this is not my vocation, although it became a vocation for a little bit. It was an avocation, and I enjoyed it immensely. And one of the most exciting things I've done in my life, really something spectacular.
Did you ever think that you would be a producer of a film?
No, executive producer. The producer is Deborah
I'm
Smersnik, but
sorry, executive.
yes, executive producer. No, not at all. And as you know, most executive producers have to do with the financing of the film. My involvement was far broader. Deborah, being the doll that she is and just an incredible person, I worked closely with her on marketing and getting and basically setting up some of the premieres in Israel and so forth. So all on the periphery and involved in the film as well with my requirements of work that involved the film. But the joy part, incredibly, was after the film was made. Just seeing Holocaust survivors, uh, second generation Holocaust survivors who came up to me and told me about that this film accurately said exactly. There were people, their parents were in the Plaszow camp, accurately depicted what happened in the camp. So it wasn't sugarcoated. You don't see you don't see you see the horrors, but it's not done in a grotesque way so that the person will go away totally depressed. It gives you
I,
the whole story.
I think we need to see the horrors because there are people and there are teachers that are saying that this never happened. And it's like,
No, you see the horrors.
what kind of?
You see the horrors, Suzanne. You see people being shot, but I'm saying that it was done in a very
Right.
proper way, so that people. I've had people come up to me and also say they're tired of Holocaust movies, that
I,
they just that they've seen it. The heart it's too much for them. They just don't. They're not they're not they're very much into making sure that the memory is kept alive, but they can't handle it personally watching it. And what my point is that with this movie, you can handle it. It doesn't. You don't walk away saying what a horrible experience. You walk away feeling uplifted that at the end of all this horror, Israel became a state. People went to the Israel. You have not you don't have just the Ashkenazi Jews, but you have the Sephardic Jews from all over the world. Many of them, not Israel's a brown society. It's not a white society, and they all came
wait,
because
what
of
does that mean?
well, when we talk about Ashkenazi Jews, we're talking about European Jews,
Oh, okay.
uh, people who kind of look like me. Very fair skin. Some may have red hair, blonde hair, uh, and there are the Jews from the East coming from Yemen, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Algeria,
So
Tunisia.
it's a mixed
Uh,
colored race.
exactly, it's a mixed colored, and 25 years ago, I saw a lot of mixed couples, light, fair skinned, and the partner was dark haired and exotic. And now the kids are a mixture, and it's amazing. So Israel, became a state. The Jews have a state. The Jews can be proud of what happened, and it all came out of the ashes of not only World War II, but also the discrimination and the horror that happened in the Arab countries. Over 1 million Jews from Arab lands were dispossessed in the late 40s.
Right. In doing this, what would you like audiences to take away? What would you like when they come out of this movie? What would you like to have changed in them? What would you like to get across?
Exactly what I mentioned, the optimism of what has happened after the Holocaust. That it's not something that we all have to get depressed about and feel that there's no future. You read and hear and feel the stories of the Holocaust, and you just say, how could the human race do this? You lose faith in mankind. You can't fathom how this could happen. Yet this movie, when you come out of it, because of the life that Joseph and Rebecca Bow lived after, which is not shown in the movie, but you see it and you get a full flavor of it by, as I said, the credits
Right.
with the people just gasping at reading what happened. Very quick, not long, not paragraphs, 1 or 2 sentences telling you what happened to the camp commander, and they show pictures and the actual pictures. Very quick, all very very quick, and you see that the past there was as much justice as could be had. And then you see the future, and the future is bright, where you have Rebecca and Joseph Bow had 2 children, Hadassah and Slila Bow, and you see them, you see their pictures. And if your viewers would like to come to Israel, you all have an invitation to come and visit the Joseph Bow House Museum. And you could look it up at TripAdvisor. Actually, this is really something that's incredible, because I'm not the only one that likes this. TripAdvisor has it as one of the 100 must-see places in the world.
Oh, wow.
That is a huge accomplishment.
No, that's fabulous.
Yeah, and that's not because of family and friends putting it. It's from visitors from all over the world, Holland, Indonesia, all over, and writing in and giving this. And it's one of those off the beaten path. Everyone knows about the huge museums in Israel that have all the fantastic artwork and history and so forth, and archaeological digs and all of that. All of those gems and jewels are there. This is something that people don't know about, but has kind of bubbled up and is amazing. And of course, everyone's getting a little older. And on your next trip to Israel, I encourage everyone to make the visit and go see the Joseph Bau Museum, and you'll meet the Bau sisters and get a real flavor of what this movie, the people involved in this story in real life are about. Joseph and Rebecca Bau.
I think that they've done something that most people don't do, and something that we should all do. I think the lesson is life can knock you down as many ways as it wants,
Mm-hmm.
but once you survive the knocking down, it's up to you to allow them to keep ruining your life or take charge of it and go a positive way. And I think that's what this movie is doing.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I encourage everyone to go see it. Um, it's available streaming and so forth, so it's not going to be difficult for anyone to get access to it. And I think they'll be moved, and would love to hear from anybody who has reactions to it. I just find that people's reactions are just something that's so special. I just, the I get so many responses when I've been to these premieres and speaking to the people after. They're in tears, and it's just heartfelt, and so I love it. I just think it's one of the greatest things that I've done in life.
I don't think that there's any way not to feel something for this film. There's just no way, unless you're heartless.
Yeah.
I doubt it. Magda, because I know that this is a subject that is dear to your heart as well. Do you have any questions to ask?
Did you have any organizations behind you to help you with this, with financing the film? Because, films is always hard to put out there.
Oh, you're so right, Magda. You hit it on the head. There's a lot of issues. I don't know how any film that's not backed by the hundreds of millions of dollars of the major studios ever gets done. But I will say we didn't have organizations that backed it financially. What happened was that there were a lot of organizations that assisted in getting the word out and putting it into their newsletters and news items. So we did, the Museum of Tolerance in Jerusalem, very, very positive and really reached out to us, and we used them as a venue. The University of Haifa, amazing. They had a art exhibit of Joseph Bau right before the premiere,
Oh, wow.
and then hosted the premiere in Haifa, and that was one of the most moving because we had some of the intellectual academics or academicians involved with the Holocaust there, and it was so moving and so heavy with the weight of history. And that's where I met a lot of second generation Holocaust survivors, meaning these are the children of Holocaust survivors. And I was told something by someone who is a Holocaust second generation, and they looked me in the eye, and a very good dear friend, and said, Richie, every one of the children of Holocaust survivors has been marked and has trauma because of it.
Mm.
They are not like other people whose family did not go through the Holocaust. It's as if they've lived it because of what their childhood was.
Mike, the co-founder, well, not co-founder, but one of the people that helped my paper, David, his mother was in the Holocaust and was experimented on
No.
and by Mengele. and he became her sounding board.
Wow.
So if you ask me, he got more disturbed by it than she did.
Yes, I hear you, and that's the point I was trying to make. But this film comes back to show that we've won, because Joseph Bow went to Israel and was the forger to bring back Eichmann for the trial.
That's fabulous. I
And
love
he
that.
did all of the forgeries of all of the Mossad agents that went to Argentina and came back with Eichmann. So the justice is longstanding in coming about, and it's not enough, and certainly very little compared to what happened. But the beauty is that Joseph Bow continued to be positive, to look at life in a loving way, to have such a relationship with his wife, and their daughters just kind of mirror that. So with the horrors that go on, the opposite can happen with Joseph and Rebecca Bow, where their children were motivated, certainly knew all the stories, but bring that love and want to bring that out and share it with people. And that's what the movie does.
How old was he when he passed away? The two of them.
He was, I think, his early 80s, and she was late 70s. She passed away first. It was very difficult for him.
1997.
Yeah, she passed away first. It was very hard on him losing her, but he did a lot of interesting work. He worked every day. One of the things I've got to let you know, he also wrote books on the Hebrew language. Don't forget, he didn't know the Hebrew language. He came to Israel in 1950. He didn't know the Hebrew language, so much so that the books that he wrote are now used by the Hebrew language institutes and educational system because of the insights that they have. Meaning, he didn't just write about the language, he wrote about how certain words, when you just kind of switch letters, kind of like one of his famous lithographs shows a woman putting on red lipstick, except the red lipstick is an actual bullet. You know how the lipstick case looks looks like a bullet, and she's wearing bullets, but with lipstick cases, red lipstick. And in the Hebrew words, the word for lipstick and for bullet is kind of interchangeable with a few little adjustments. And people didn't realize it. They just don't realize it. And so he wrote this, just did incredible stuff through his artwork and through his books on the Hebrew language, brought this all out. Now, if he would have done one of these kind of endeavors, he would have been someone who had been known in history. But he did a whole slew of them, just kind of like Catch Me If You Can story, just leading many lives. And I was amazed. That's why I spent 7 hours there. I just couldn't believe the stories. It's hard to believe.
Thank you so much for being with us today and sharing all of this. I find it incredibly fascinating. I hope my readers and my listeners will as well. Richard, thank you for being with us today. I'm Susanna Bowling. This has been live from the Hotel Edison. Times Square Chronicles presents Zoom Style.